So today we're going to be finding the EVP of this function, sine of x minus cosine of x equals 0 along the interval of 0 to 2 pi. So the first step is we're going to take the derivative. So we have f prime of x is going to equal cosine of x plus sine of x. So now we have to use this interval to find values that turn this into 0. So the only value that could do that would be a multiple of pi over 4, since the cosine of pi over 4 and sine of pi over 4 have the same value. However, one has to be negative in order to cancel the other one out. So the first one we will get to is f prime of, how about 3 pi over 4, and this will end up doing negative 1 over square root of 2 plus positive 1 over square root of 2, which is going to be 0. And the other value is going to be 7 pi over 4, which is going to produce the exact same thing, it's just the signs are going to be reversed. So now that we have our points, we have to make a derivative sign chart. So we have x, then we have f prime of x. So we go ahead and fill out this interval. And since we already know that 3 pi over 4 turns us into 0, we can go ahead and put a 0 there. So now we fill out the middle bit. And once again, we know that 7 pi over 4 turns us into 0, so we can go ahead and mark that there. Then we have the last section. 7 pi over 4 is less than x is less than 2 pi. So now we have to plug in values into these to figure out if it's going to be positive or negative. So with this first one, we have a value, really easy one is pi over 2. It's going to turn this into a positive number. Then on this one, we will have 3 pi over 2, which is going to turn that negative. And finally, this one, since it's in the last quadrant, has to be 11 pi over 6, and that'll turn this positive. Now, this will give us the critical numbers. If it just asks for the critical numbers, you can just box 3 pi over 4 and 7 pi over 4. But since it's an EVP, we have to find the other point. We'll find the y-coordinate. So we plug those back into the original equation. So sine of 3 pi over 4 minus cosine of 3 pi over 4 is going to get 1 over square root of 2 plus 1 over square root of 2 is going to equal 2 over square root of 2. So 3 pi over 4 comma 2 over square root of 2, that's going to be the first one. And we have, and I'm going to plug in 7 pi over 4, so sine of 7 pi over 4 minus cosine of 7 pi over 4 is going to turn into negative 1 over square root of 2 minus 1 over square root of 2, which is going to equal negative 2 over square root of 2. So 7 pi over 4, and then negative 2 over square root of 2. And that would be where EVPs are. That is all.